I know it's early. Well,
so there's like this.
And we're live.
Hey, Jeff McKinney. There's like this beard moisturizer
Okay.
that I would use like after you shower and everything. You rub that stuff in there, and it's got tea tree oil in it. And in spite of the gynecomastia, I like the smell. But anyways, like you work with hops anyways, so let me I don't know if I have time to run all the way up to the top story of my mansion right now, everybody. I know we're live. Oh, hey.
The Barbasol menthol does well for keeping my beard nice and soft.
Menthol.
Sharon doesn't have any problems with the smooches.
Reminds me of college. Bumming smokes.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Dan. Hey, Laura. Hey, Brad. Good to see you all here tonight.
Welcome to our beard hygiene.
Yes, Dan, I have a light to go back here. Dan said I should add a light. I have one for back here. I haven't set it up yet. I'll make sure that happens.
What? I don't see anybody talking about lights.
This is not in the chat.
Oh, right. You've got a private thing going on.
Yeah.
You've got actual friends that watch this.
More than just the two of you, if you could believe it. I know it's hard to believe.
That's crazy. What are friends? I don't know.
Yeah, how do you have time for that?
Back in the time before time, we had those things. Oh.
If I could turn back time, I need to wear one of those out. Imagine me wearing the Cher turn back time outfit, and now I'm in your nightmares
on an aircraft carrier. That's where all battleship.
You know, we have a jukebox at the tail, and people run it by their app on their phone, and they just put their credit card in, and you know,
that's cool.
There's one dude who comes in and he's always playing UFO, live UFO, Strangers in the Night. Michael Shaker, one hell of a great guitar player, and it's a really good live album for late 70s hard rock. Anyway, invariably, every single time his couple of songs end, it's either Wilson Phillips or Cher. Right after UFO.
Well, dude, Hold On could be one of the greatest songs ever.
Ever.
Someday somebody gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Say goodbye, baby. How you gonna?
What is our show about again? I can't remember.
Don't you know? Things have changed. Things are going. If you have to go like this.
One more day.
Oh yeah, you gotta pinch the headphones in.
One more day.
No, just one here.
And 0 viewers. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
All right. I can't even remember what I was gonna say, but so be it. No autographs tonight, Solomon, huh?
Living that celeb life.
You got your sunglasses on?
They are up here. They're keeping the flyaways. It's weird. So I've been man bunning for it. I can never show people my man bun, but I've been man bunning for a while. And what happens is the ladies know. What happens is during the day, the hairs over here start to kind of like fall out,
right.
Like, you know, I'm Jewish and I'm very self-conscious of like the long hairs in the front. Like if someone's gonna give me shit, it's like, oh fuck you, dude. It's just.
You moved to New York and become Hasidic.
Oh, the Bee Gees. You know what's crazy? I went a strong majority of my life, being born in 1978. My only exposure to the Bee Gees growing up was Saturday Night Fever. And then when I actually started hearing like their good music from before disco, it's like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, the harmonies were incomparable.
I just gotta get a message to you.
Brad, apparently Solomon has been enjoying the 420
Oh, come on. How dare you? Are we changing the name of the podcast to Weed Like Drinking? Get it?
Bump. All right.
Since all our states are legal.
That's true, John. All our states are legal, huh?
Is that what that means? Like when I say roll, I'm really talking about weed.
Yes. Shh.
Twist one up.
Something just fell behind me. There's a ghost in the room or something. All right. Should we do this? Like, I'm ready. Are you guys ready? We know what we're talking about, right? We got the news.
Yeah. I just remember that one Saturday Night Live sketch where it's like Rob, what's his name? It was during the Adam Sandler era. Rob Deuce Bigelow, that guy. He played like this guy.
Rob Schneider.
He had an African antique shop, and everybody he'd talk about hold up this didgeridoo and talk about how amazing it is, and they're like, but what do you do with it? And then he gets real close and goes, you put your weed in there, and everything turns into a place you put your weed.
Yeah, I do remember that one. I thought you were gonna say Joe Piscopo there for a second.
Oh no.
All right. Age myself there a little bit. All right, you guys set?
Remember when Joe Piscopo thought he was more than just a comedic actor? Like he thought he was a singer or something.
Yeah.
Him and Eddie Murphy. Stay in your lane, guys.
But you don't want to put the trees in your butt? Put the bumblebee in your butt?
No, I'm good. Oh. Are we ready?
I am. Are you? Did you get it all out yet?
I am always ready. Yeah, I have been here. Wait, been right? Yeah, let's go.
He's done making the pickle beer. We're good to go.
At the sound of the tone, the official "We Like Drinking" time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
This week on episode 326 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be having champagne wishes and caviar dreams as we sip celebrity wines and fight off the paparazzi. So crack open that beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking. You know,
golf clap.
Golf clap. I gotta say something about this week's episode, folks. If you haven't been able to figure it out already, we're drinking celebrity wines this week. I was really unhappy with the Patreons for choosing this one at first, but as the week has gone on, I have gotten more and more excited about this one. I don't know. How are you guys?
You know what's weird? I was thinking about, I think if we'd have done an episode like this, maybe even 5 years ago, I went on YouTube and I searched celebrity wines, and sure enough, I don't know if y'all remember this. She still has a channel, but she's not very active. I think her name's Whitney Adams. About 5 or 6 years ago, did just really slick, awesome, very YouTubey videos, really good. I don't know if she's calls herself a psalm, but just really knows her shit about wine and just really funny and entertaining. She did a celebrity wine rundown, and I do feel like there's a lot more to explore today, even as opposed to 5 years ago when she was stuck with skinny girl California white wine. That's I think we're in a better place.
Yeah, for sure. A lot more options out there, a lot better options, and a lot worse options too, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh, I see the comments. I The intro was kind of interesting. You can edit this part out, but yeah, we didn't hear the music. You put it in there. That's what you do. You're a super producer.
That's that had to sound really interesting. Me like jamming out because I could.
Oh no, it was awesome. We heard you all gearing up. You're like, and
see, folks, for you listening to the podcast, you don't get this part of the show, the fun part of the show that you only get by watching what, Jeff?
Oh, every Tuesday night at 7:30 Pacific, as you ought to do, watch us live on YouTube. Either find We Like Drinking on YouTube and click the like and subscribe button, or you find us at welikedrinking.com/show. I will say, for those of you that are audio only, stick around until the very end when Eccles plays the raw footage of the intro.
There you go.
So always giving them more work.
Always. So let me kick this off and say cheers, my podcast drinking friends, and welcome to Happy Hour 326 of your favorite award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on fun.
Fun!
We like to have it. So make sure you never miss another episode of our brand of drinking fun by visiting welikeDrinking.com/subscribe.
Subscribe.
All right. You've heard us all talking. Let's get to know. Let's put some faces to sounds, some voices to names. Let's do something and find out who we're drinking with. We're joined by our usual panel members. We have our California Sustainable Wine Growing Ambassador and recovering wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
Yeah, stamp my name real big on this turd. Let's do it.
Our commercial brewer and snake wrangler, John Ruyak.
I'd rather put some lips on this wine.
And I'm your host and certified specialist of wine, Jeff Eccles. I thought you were going to say.
I thought that was going a totally different direction, man. That's our after party, bro.
I mean, I've got 2 bottles of wine here. I mean, there kind of needs to be an after party, I think. So as we already said, this is our drinking episode. We do one a month. And our amazing patrons get to vote on the show. The patrons that are at $5 a month or more get to vote. And this month, we gave them some good options. And they came back with celebrity wine. So, it's a crapshoot as to what level of quality you'll get with this rando category. So let's find out what our panel chose to partake in this month. Oh, man, everybody's so excited. John, let's start with you because we already know what you got. And then we're going to get to the surprises that are the Jeffs.
Okay, but did you put the poll? I'm not on social media anymore. Was there any responses on the tavern?
Oh, on the tavern, on the gifts on the tavern. Yeah, there was a lot of good responses. And there were some Drew Barrymores. There were some good ones in there.
All right. So
Cameron Diaz obviously made an appearance.
All right. So
Snoop made an appearance. Jay-Z.
I think E40 showed up. That would have been.
There was one nice. I didn't get. There was a few I didn't get at all.
Well,
there's some Portland Trailblazers. There's.
Unfortunately, Robin Trower doesn't have a vineyard, and neither does Jimmy Page. And I'm still waiting for his lawyer to call us with a cease and desist order for the Jimmy Page Sweaters IPA. Anyway, with that in mind, I went and got some Caduceus.
Yes.
The Anubis 2018. This wine cellar and producer is owned by Maynard James Keenan, the singer from Tool, A Perfect Circle, and Pussifer.
Pussifer, how dare you?
Whatever. Anyway, he's a lot more active in those other 2 bands, although I prefer his Tool material. So when I decided to purchase this, I went on their website, and I was really gunning for the Brunello. But I wasn't sure I was going to get here in time, so I searched up Caduceus on Total Wines and found their Anubis. So this is a 2018 50% Cab, 20% Cab Franc, 20% Durif, and 10% Aglianico. And they suggested that you have it with what they consider their most beef-friendly wine, and that's exactly what I did. I grilled a New York strip steak and had some asparagus and shared it with my wife. And she doesn't normally like Cab, but we'll talk about tasting later, but this is what I purchased.
Awesome.
$52.
Nice. Jeff?
You know,
you can give me one. You can give me one. I can go one. Then you go on. I go one, or you can just give me both of yours right now.
I'm going to give you both because I also want to tell you what I was looking for.
Okay.
What I did, the closest like major wine retailer to me is Bevmo, and me and Bevmo, we've had some issues for a while, but I was like, let me just look things up. I still, I've been fully vaccinated for a while. I'm feeling very safe, but I don't go into a lot of stores if I don't have to, and I don't want to waste a lot of time. So I look up, it looks like the Bevmo and Gilroy had, it's weird. You can't necessarily search celebrity wines as you go into like looking for a SKU. So I just started like looking up what are the top celebrity wines, just like looking for articles. And I got fired up because I saw people were raving about a rosé from, it was called 3 by Wade Cellars, which is owned by Dwayne Wade, former guard for the Miami Heat, and just like an awesome dude. And I think we've been around long enough. We've read a whole lot about Dwayne Wade and a lot of his friends in the NBA. Like, they're big into wine, and I'm like, I know above anything else, it's just going to be a quality wine. And I go into Bevmo, into the rosé section, because they don't have like a specific, it's a French rosé. They don't have a specific like French section that's worth looking at in the one that's close to me. So I go to the rosé section. I can't find it, but what I did see were some other labels that jumped out at me. The first one, beautiful label right here, and if you didn't know going into it, you might not know that this is a celebrity wine. This is In Vivo X SJP. I should be pouring this into a Cosmo glass because this is owned by one Sarah Jessica Parker. This is a 2019. It says Sud de France on the front, which isn't an official region. And on the back, it just says Vin de France Rosé 2019. I saw that, and there were a lot of what I might classify as celebrity wines, like in like a really solid price range of like 15 to like $25 that I had to choose from. I picked up another one, another bottle of a vintage French rosé, LVE, which is John Legend. And I was going to bring that home. And then I round the corner into the alternative packaging section.
Yes, I like where you're going.
And I see a can of wine from John Legend. It's not vintage, it's non-vintage, and it's difficult to read on this camera. A gold aluminum with pink matte silkscreen on it. La Vie by LVE. This is John Legend's non-vintage canned rosé. I will say that this is from the Pies. Sorry, it's so difficult to read this fucking can. That's the only thing I hate. The Pies Doc. So it is a sub-region country wine from France, and it does say that it's Grenache. What year is it from? Who knows? But is it what I expect is going to be a really nice quality rosé in a can? Oh, fuck yeah. I'm excited about this one. I already cracked this one open and poured care of some of it, because once you open a can, you got to finish it tonight. So we'll see how that goes too. Oh, and I'm pouring everything in some inherited crystal glasses, because I never fucking use these, and I would never bring them out for guests because I think they're gross looking. But for tonight, because they are expensive, I'm bringing out the Cristal glasses.
All right. Nicely done, Jeff Solomon.
What you got, Eck?
Those are going to be fun. I mean, come on. None of you. We're recording this on 4/20. And none of you.
Oh, okay.
None of you went.
How's the AR on that one?
It's fantastic. None of you went with the Snoop Dogg 19 Crimes Cali Red. Come on, guys. I mean, look at this.
I saw it.
Look at that.
I saw the end cap. I saw the top row.
And it took me. I was in that liquor shop for a long time trying to find wines. I saw like there was a Greg Norman wine. I saw the Caduceus. A lot that I saw that you recognize. I couldn't find any Cameron Diaz wine. I was really bummed about that. But I am in Colorado. And if you're going to roll in Colorado and you're going to go with celebrity wines, you may as well stick close to home, right? You may as well go with the legend number 7, the man, the myth, the legend, John Elway Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon out of the Napa Valley, 2017, rolling big, rolling championships, rolling Colorado.
Wow.
Or something.
Wow. There you go.
So he decided he didn't have enough time to sell cars or run a football team. So now he's got a winery.
Or a restaurant or destroy a football team.
He's a really bad GM.
He runs a fantastic wine shop though. Or I mean a restaurant.
There you go.
So his cork's got a signature on it and number 7.
There you go. I've got a cork from the SJP that says Miss in Bouteille dans Noir Chais, which means we bottled this in our house. I just picture like Matthew Broderick with a funnel. Like, please, Sarah, don't spill any on me.
I'm surprised you're not asking us to call you Mr. Big for the rest of the night, Solomon.
I never watched that show. I know that when people say Mr. Big, they're referencing that, but I'm sure it's a penis joke in there somewhere.
I don't know why I don't know. I didn't really watch enough of it either. All right. Let's see. Well, let's see. I guess before we get to the tasting notes.
I love when dudes pretend they're not into stuff, but then they get like overly specific. They're like, yeah, I never what? Fucking Sex in the City? Never even heard of that show. Yeah, people say I'm like a Samantha. I'm very flirty. We're talking wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. This is where I am going to give a term to this distinguished group of commenters at YouTube and WeLikeDrinking.com/show. And then these two knuckleheads, these two jamokes above me on StreamYard. By the way, have I complimented you on your stream yet, fellas? Great stream. Great stream. So anyways.
Yeah, I had my prostate check. It's nice.
The term this week is Astudio. Is Astudio a wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference? You know I did my due diligence. Look at this sticky pad.
Looks like you tore it off of a spiral notebook.
No, I cut that in afterwards.
It looks like he went to a restaurant and kept the order slip.
Just dine and dash, like they drop the bill out and I just run. Always, how come every time, you know how whenever we do like the dine and ditch, like we always run with our arms over our heads as we leave and we make silly sounds like whoop, 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 whoop. I shouldn't do that. So is Astudio a wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. I'm gonna go with Jeff Eccles. It would piss you off if I went with you first, and
therefore,
I'm feeling I don't know. I'm feeling very chill today. I don't know. So John, is A Studio a wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference?
Well, I'm going to do Jeff and I a favor and all of our listeners and ask, how the fuck do you spell that?
A-S-T-U. I had to double check for a second. Let's do D-I-L-L-O.
Oh,
Studio.
A Studio. Well, I thought, someone missed the space bar on their typewriter and they've just like a studio. And then because, without the two L's, the AA that we got going on here that, anyway, A Studio. It's like, did a stud horse get funky with an armadillo and do something there? I'm not sure how the mechanics of that would work. That'd have to be either a really short horse or a really tall armadillo. Astadio. You know what? I'm going to say that this is. I'm going to say that this is a wine term, and this is. It's got to be some sort of grape from Spain.
John Ruyak says Astudio is a wine term. It's some sort of grape from Spain. You want to, what color?
I mean, John, let's remember that he has two rosés in front of him to get all kinds of terms off of.
Right. Pink. It's pink. It's a white-ish grape.
Okay, a white-ish grape. Astudio. Jeff Eccles.
Yes. I am going to have to I need to remove myself from the voting tonight because the chat lit up before I could look away.
The chat is going off, man. What would you have said?
I mean, before you held up the piece of paper and I would have said wine, it's off the can. Before you even gave us a term, I said it was going to be off of one of your wines tonight. Because you just remembered right when you were before the show started. So I would have said that. When I heard the term, I had no idea, but the chat has lit up with pop culture, baseball player for the Twins.
That's very specific, everybody.
That's coming from Brad. Rhett is saying it's a pop fly ball culture reference.
I get it, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise known as the turtle?
Yeah. Playing Major League Baseball for the Minnesota Twins since 2018, utility man Williams Astudillo has played every single position in the major leagues over those 2.5 seasons. Every single position except for shortstop. The reason why he caught my attention was the other day he came in a relief appearance. The Twins were getting manhandled by the Angels. It's the 7th inning. They are down 10-3. Astudillo, La Tortuga, which means the turtle, coming in at 5'9" tall, 225 pounds. Sick man bun.
I know who you're talking about.
Dude throws a 7-pitch perfect inning, which included a 46-mile-per-hour curveball that dropped in for a beautiful strike.
He threw an eephus pitch?
Dude, it had a 10-foot arc. It was wonderful. And seriously, compared to any of us, dude throws some gas. Like his main positions are catcher, third, and first base. He did throw in a 72-mile-per-hour changeup, but he was just going up and down. I wanted to learn more just after watching this. That you can watch the whole inning. It lasted about 2.5 minutes. It's just magical. His career batting average in just over 300 at bats, 295. Right? Like he's just like an awesome like pinch hitter. So valuable. Wins above replacement is one of my favorite stats, which tells you like it compares you to the average baseball player.
Okay.
So over the course of a season, in games that you start, how many more games would you win compared to the average player in Major League Baseball?
Play those average amounts of innings, though.
His WAR, his wins above replacement for the season, it's 0.2. For his career, which makes sense, short season. For his career, 0.8. It's just magical. And obviously, when you appear in games in the 7th inning, losing by 7, that doesn't help your WAR too much. But shout out to La Tortuga. Shout out to the comment section, as you ought to be in every Tuesday night at 7:30ish Pacific at WeLikeDrinking.com/show for your correct pop culture reference, Willens Astudillo. He's a pop culture reference.
I don't understand how he can have a WAR if he's had 300 at bats in 3 years. That's not even possible.
Hey man, that's more than you'll ever get, bro.
Well, sure.
All right. Let's get into these wines. We got to keep the tasting notes short and sweet, especially the Jeff's. John can go a little longer since he's got only one wine. Jeff Solomon, do you want to take us out?
I mean, I'm not going to do both the rosés back to back before anyone else gets to anything. But I mean, if we're starting the episode right, we are starting with a can of rosé coming in at 12%. La Vie by LVE, which is John Legend's wine company. Pouring it from the can. Y'all can see it there. There is a little bit of frizzante there. And you know, it's interesting. The bubbles aren't necessarily moving. They're just there. They're just kind of there, like hanging out. You know, I'm not one to like gawk and drool all over the color of a rosé. Because I honestly don't think it matters that much. I will say when I see one that's like super bright, that kind of throws me off a little bit. But this is a very light, pale salmon right here. On the nose. And by the way, this is, I do know this is of the Grenache variety. And on the nose, just beautiful, zesty, lively, citrusy, like grapefruit zest on the nose. And then on the palate here, this is good. I will say, I'm detecting just a touch of residual sugar. Nothing that's out of balance. I think it's something that I think most folks maybe wouldn't even notice. I'm not even going to classify this as being sweet, but it's there. And actually, I think it's welcome. And I'll say that because there's this wonderful acid, and then there's also this wonderful, I'm going to say earthy citrus And what I mean by that is that, you know, this is rind, this is peel, this is zest driven and not juice driven. And so there's a little bit of a bitter component there, which is not unkind, it's intriguing. And this is a $5.99 in a can. This quite possibly, you know, our friends at Maker, they put some wonderful wines in cans. And I don't even recall if I had a rosé from them. I probably did. I was about to say that this is one of the best canned wines that I've ever had, but I don't think that's fair, because obviously I think just beautiful wines coming from Maker. But as far as like stuff that you could find available to you, I would never imagine that I could walk into a store and say, hey, do you have John Legend's rosé? And they say, do you want the vintage rosé that's in a bottle over here that looks like the Angelina Jolie wine? Or do you want one in this beautiful gold aluminum can, by the can, non-vintage? This is a perfect picnic wine. Very intriguing, very balanced. I would love this with a light pasta salad. I would love this with a fucking catfish po' boy. I don't know why that just came across my brain right now, but that would be amazing. You know what it is? We were talking about baseball, and I was thinking about, man, I wish I could go to a game in Atlanta with my sister right now, because we'd just be po' boying it up. This is fantastic. This is so good.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm saying so good for a $5.99 can. Like, this is not something that's gonna change your life, but this is great. And knowing that it's available, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And he's such a good singer, like almost as good as I am. I can't even think of a John Legend song right now. Everybody remind me in the chat.
All right, John.
Okay. I don't know. So I picked out this caduceus.
Hold on.
What?
We got to come back around we got to loop around. So I'm gonna steal your thunder. I'm gonna go second.
Okay.
All right. I am rolling with the Snoop 420 Cali Red. What do we got on this one? This one is 65% Petite Syrah, 30% Zin, 5% Merlot. This is coming from the 19 Crimes winery. Now 19 Crimes, all Australian wines. This is their first California wine. And good to know, Snoop Dogg himself was involved in the final blend that went into this wine. All fruit, Jeff Solomon from Lodi.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, and that's kind of what I would expect, as far as like when you compare it to the quality of the other 19 Crimes wines, that kind of speaks to that profile in a California version. I just have to ask, everybody needs to know, did you pull out the phone? Did you point it at the label? And did you have Snoop Dogg talk to you? And
absolutely.
What did he say? Did he talk about like murder was the case? Like what was this?
He talked more about being kind of a rebel, going against the grain, being kind of counterculture, and, you know, kind of making himself, you know, similar to the 19 Crimes story about, you know, the 19 crimes you could commit that would get you ejected from jolly old England and left to Australia to serve your time, and how you kind of had to reinvent yourself once you got there. So this, you know, on the nose, this follows a lot of the 19 Crimes kind of aroma. There's some good red fruit in this. I'm not going to lie. There's some, you know, cherry kind of components going on here. Some jammy kind of notes. There's also, it smells a little bit on the jammy kind of sweet side. And then on the palate.
Tell me it's juicy.
It is juicy. You know, I will say this. I was expecting, okay, there's very much a candy component that comes across right up front, that Jolly Rancher, candied fruit kind of thing. And then the mid palate, there's actually kind of a, I guess you could kind of call it a mid palate or a first finish. There's a bit of a there's a little bit of a tannin kind of thing kind of comes up and says, hey, how you doing? And then kind of that sweetness kind of overtakes the finish, and you're left with kind of a juicy juice kind of sweet thing. It's not cloyingly sweet. I will give it that. I will say I got the last bottle in the store as well. And when I talked to the gentleman selling it, he was like, we sell a lot of this. And I think that's kind of the genius of this wine, is that, Snoop is an iconic figure in pop culture, and putting his name on a bottle of wine is a big deal. I think it's going to push a lot of product. And this isn't my style of wine, but there's nothing wrong with this wine either. This would go great at a dinner party. This would go great at a barbecue. This would go great at a party, any kind of that where a lot of people are going to be thinking there. People are going to like this. Might give you a rocking headache the next day. But I'm not going to throw any shade at Snoop. It is what it is. It's not my cup of tea.
Were there any dank herbal notes?
There was no dank herbal notes, unfortunately. I was really hoping there might be some sticky icky in the.
That would be so gross,
right? All right, Ruyak. Sorry, I went a little long on that.
So it's cool that Snoop is involved in the final blend. I don't know about the other people, John Elway or John Legend or Sarah Jessica Parker, but Mr. Keenan is the actual winemaker at Caduceus Cellars. So he doesn't only own the place, he makes the wine. So I think that's pretty neat. Where they're based out of is Jerome, Arizona. I've driven through there. It's one of the coolest places I've ever driven my vehicle. It is a town that had the largest copper mine in like the history of the United States. 3 million pounds a year of copper came out of this place. But if you're not familiar with the wine growing regions of Arizona, we had Lisa Street on from Aridus, which is in southeastern Arizona, and sometimes Caduceus and Merkin's Cellars are Merkin Wines, which is associated, same company, but they'll take grapes from that Wilcox area, which is down in the southeast. But most of their grapes and allotments are up north of Phoenix, and everybody thinks about Arizona being hot and deserty and stuff. But when you get into the mountains north of Phoenix, there's lots of little nooks and crannies in the foothills and stuff that are just really, really neat. Anyway, I mean, this is just, it smells, the aroma is dense. I mean, it's really, it's velvety. There's red fruit. There's a little bit of graphite in it. And I almost want to say perfumey, but in a really deep, dark red wine type of way. Not a floral perfume, but just it's almost like the aromas are just fighting to do different things to get in your nose and do stuff. I mean seriously,
that's awesome. I love it.
This clocks at 13.5, so it's not a huge ABV thing, but it's certainly on the palate. There's that dark fruit, kind of that bright berry thing you would expect from Aglianico. The cab is really kind of, it's there, but it's 50%, and the tannins are here you go, Solomon, hashtag smooth. I mean, I can't. It's a 2018. I can't wrap my mind around the fact that the tannins are so soft on this wine, and yet there's so much structure happening here. The acidity is nice. I tell you, when I told you I grilled a New York strip, and I like my New York strip like medium, not medium rare. When I do tenderloin, it's medium rare. When I do New York strip, it's medium. And I tell you, it was like take a bite of the steak, chew it, swallow it, take a sip of the wine, nice, and then all of a sudden they kind of there's a meatiness here, and I don't want to say it tastes like steak juice, but the way the two things kind of just melded together, it was kind of like you couldn't tell where one started and one finished. That to me that's a wine built for beef. I mean, this is really neat, really, really pretty cool stuff. And it's just so I've never put my nose in a glass of red wine that kind of hit me like this. And I think part of it's the Durif or the Petite Syrah that kind of gives it that hugeness to it. There's a real bigness in this, even though this is 20% Petite Syrah, and there's nothing small about Petite Syrah.
I was gonna say, like, that sounds wonderful, and thank you for those tasting notes. Like, it makes me want to go seek that out.
I would recommend it. It's a little spendy, but hey, give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, it's so funny. Like, having never tasted it, I'm sure there are plenty of folks here that are listening or watching, as you ought to do every Tuesday night at welikeDrinking.com/show. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit the notification. It's easier for you to remember when we go live every Tuesday. But I'm sure a lot of us have seen the documentary Blood into Wine, following Maynard James Keenan, talking about his wine, going through that process, talking about Arizona, but then also doing his musical projects too. But there's this thing like ingrained in my head. I remember being in high school. I was like a punk rocker. Like, I wasn't, I didn't hate Tool. I just wasn't necessarily into them. And I remember one of the things where it was like, if that Tool video came on where it was claymation and there was meat like running through the pipes, and I couldn't help but when John was giving those like tasting notes, all of a sudden I start thinking about like the little creepy claymation guys looking at the pipes with all the meat going through. And yet maybe that was all like part of this winemaking fever dream that Maynard James Keenan had, and that was the whole essence behind the whole video.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll get him on the show and get him and Adam Jones on, who does the videos, and see if they can come to an agreement on that.
There you go.
Sure. I should give them some ideas for other music videos. Hey guys, how about less claymation meat tube movement?
All right, Solomon, let's get to your second rosé of the evening.
Yeah, this is the In Vivo, which means in life. In Vivo SJP.
Jeff, try to keep it like 2 or 3 minutes.
Hey, man, you're the one drawing this out. This is the In Vivo, which means in life. SJP Sarah Jessica Parker 2019 Sud de France Rosé. That's a rosé from the south of France. What grapes? I don't know. Probably Grenache. And color-wise, you're actually getting a similar, maybe a slightly pinker look from the SJP here. No frizzante, which probably a plus, right? And I wonder how much the canning has to do with that trapped gas in the John Legend wine. So on the note, the nose here is much more floral, where the John Legend was much more citrusy. White flowers, grass cuttings, drier, not wetter, drier grass. And on the palate.
Not the grass that's stuck to the bottom of the mower housing.
Not that Snoop Dogg grass either. But on the palate, acidity to another level, juxtaposed to the John Legend. Razor sharp. There's a little bit of like, this didn't go through malolactic fermentation, and yet there's a little bit of like a mallow play, like a little bit of like a sharp cheddar there, along with like this citrusy lemon lime driven zest. And maybe it's really like, it's just got me thinking, like I would love to have some cheese with this. The acidity is really nice. If you're an acid head, I would actually go for both of these, but I think the SJP is gonna really hit you where you want it. I'm not getting any sweetness play at all. And again, I wouldn't really call the other wine sweet per se. I wouldn't even call it like off dry. It's just that there's nothing detectable on my palate. This is just clean. There kind of is like a hoppy characteristic to this. You know, all the hops with citrusy sounding names. Citra, Mandarina. I'll just say it's in that realm. And the citrus, there's like a little like blood orange in there as well. I have to tell you, I feel like I'm cheating. I feel like it's tough to we haven't been demonetized yet, but it's tough to fuck up a rosé. You know, if you add a whole bunch of sugar, that could mess it up. But if you're gonna get rosé from France, you're going for a certain profile already. And I would imagine with both of those plays, these are wines that I could see them drinking, right? I almost do feel like I'm on a Robin Leach Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous type of thing, where it's like, yeah, that's a little weird that you're bringing your own wine that you didn't make. It's just your name that's on it. But it's really good. Like, it's not what I would think of as like maybe a Ramona Pinot Grigio, which I will never try unless someone tells me it's great, but no one's ever said that to me. But this is really nice. And I'll stack both of them up against the Brangelina wine as well, just because I've had that rosé before too. Yeah, this is great. I am not disappointed by either of these. This was probably like $18.
You make me want some rosé.
So, yeah, it's fucking rosé season, bro.
Bro, someone should tell Sarah Jessica Parker that the 3 initial thing went out with SRV.
Okay,
dude, no, but come on, wrong demographic. Stevie Ray Valentine, no one's ever heard of him. I will also say this real quick, because I did see that old Whitney Adams video from like 5 years ago. She did drink the Adam Carolla Mangria Rosé, which was literally a mix between his sweet white and his sweet red. And she was not a fan. I don't think I would be a fan either. So I guess you could fuck up a rosé even as a celebrity.
That doesn't sound.
Adam Carolla, you were a whole lot better like when you were doing Crank Yakers back in the day, bro.
All right, and then and to the gridiron for the John Elway Reserve 2017 Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. This is 90% Cabernet Sauvignon, 9% Petite Syrah, and 1% Petite Verdot. Napa Valley, 18 months on French oak, 60% new winemaker Robert Mondavi Jr. So their initial release came out. They have a cab and a Chard in their reserve collection. Cab is 65 a bottle, Chard is 36. Did so well. They released the Farm Correct collection later that comes off at a friendlier price point of 30 bottles per bottle. And there they have a cab, a Chard, and a Pinot added to the mix. On the nose, Jeff Solomon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In effect.
Going old school. There's definitely some oak aromas to this wine. Oak Monster, shout out, call back to way back machine to the old Gary Vaynerchuk wine library days.
Where's your wristband?
It should be up there.
I think Gary V actually owes me a wristband.
I think he does for some wrestling
for his laser
toys.
Tag. Yeah,
laser tag. That's what it was.
What the fuck, bro?
I get the nose on this is really tight. I'm really surprised how tight the nose is on this. I do get some woodsy, notes, a little bit of, maybe there's a little bit of brambly kind of play in there, but it's tough to get past the wood notes. On the palate, there's good tannins to this. There's good tannins to this.
Can you separate your tongue from the roof of your mouth next time you come up with the word?
So I do get some good tannins.
Bro.
There's some.
Can you pass the oak chips, bro?
Dip them in some onion dip before you do that.
I think if I mix these two wines I'm drinking tonight together, I might
be fantastic. that juicy red will get rid of your John Elway cotton mouth.
Call it 19-yard penalty.
There is some good red fruit to this. This just screams for John's steak tonight. This needs some fat to go along with it. This needs food to go all. I mean, John Elway owns a steakhouse up in Denver, and this needs to be there. I'm pretty sure it is. Now, if I don't really swish it around in my mouth and let it get all over the place, I do get some nice cherry notes to it. I could do some nice bright red fruits to it. Surprised that there's not more acidity to it, but it's not devoid of it. Again, I would prefer to be giving tasting notes on this with a big piece of meat to go along with it, to be honest.
It sounds like Robert Mondavi Jr. kind of fucked up, and someone's like, "What are you gonna do with it?" And he
not always name on it.
He goes back to, like, all of a sudden I see him like traveling back in time. It's the Super Bowl 1997 season, 1998, when they win, and he holds up this wine thief and he goes, "This one's for John." Oh, John Elway. That's shittier than your draft picks.
I was so excited about this one. Yeah, like I said, this one deserves some steak to go along with it. I think this would be a lot better if you had a big marbled juicy steak to go along with it, some potatoes, Yeah, John.
What kind of potatoes?
Au gratin.
Fingerling potatoes. All right. Moving on.
John Elway should do like a box delivery thing, like for Coloradans, like that wine with like a fucking juicy steak.
Boy, folks.
Does John Elway
does it come with an extra cannons too in the box?
What's that, Jeff?
Does John Elway run a business school too? Okay.
Speaking of genius business decisions, we've got a fun partnership to tell you about this and every week. Our good friend and clown car driver Lori over there at Dracaena Wines has offered all of our listeners a very special deal. And like seriously, from the bottom of our hearts to all our listeners that have taken part of this, we thank you so much. It has been so great seeing how many people have taken part of this. But if you purchase any wine from Dracaena Wines and use code WLD at checkout, you will get 5% off your order. Additionally, Dracaena Wines will send We Like Drinking a matching 5%. Big shout out to Valerie Caruso, who ordered up some wine this week, had it delivered, and she even let her cat play with the box that the wine came in. It was fun seeing what she posted on Instagram.
That was a wonderful, dare I say, viral video.
For sure.
I want to be like the old person in your life. Everyone knows that one old person on social media that always shares those memes that goes, let's make this go viral. Like it's something that you could just make happen. But if anything were to go viral, that video of Val Caruso's cat just fawning over not just the box, but the wine, like caressing, and I thought cats were afraid of dogs, but just like shoulder to shoulder with a wonderful Cabernet Franc. And this crazy thing just jumped out. We're talking about wine produced by Lori Budd, creator of Cabernet Franc Day. That should have been our celebrity wine.
Oh, it should have been. What were we thinking?
But anyways, that's awesome. It's so fun watching people like just share the love of just wonderful folks and wonderful wine. That's so rad.
Absolutely,
it's community in a glass.
Search out Dracaena Wines or visit welikedrinking.com/wine, and you'll get taken right to their store. Be sure to put WLD in the coupon code at checkout to get your 5% off. We get 5%. You get awesome wine. Lori gets a sale. Everybody wins. Hoorah!
Woo!
Okay. We are seriously going way long. What's new when we're tasting 5 wines? But we've got some stuff to talk about. We're just going to do one, but let's get set for Booze News. We discuss interesting, noteworthy, or sometimes some pretty silly things. John Ruyak, I cannot wait to get to this story. Let's crack this one open.
You want to talk? You don't want to talk about drinking chlorophyll?
No, we'll save that. Maybe that's an after party, or maybe that's next week.
Well, okay. So, with that said, New Belgium is very proud to announce that they've released the worst tasting beer in the world. So, why? Anyway, the whole deal is New Belgium is very concerned about climate change, so they released this beer that's, get this, their 3 main ingredients are smoke-tainted water, dandelions, and drought-resistant grains. And what they're trying to do is what's it called? Scorched earth
Scorched earth fat tire.
The Scorched Earth Fat Tire, the world's worst tasting beer, to give us all a taste of what our beer is going to be like if we can't meet the challenge of climate change. So what they've done along with this, and I'm sorry, it's my internet is not working for me to read this story, but apparently what they're doing is they're along with this beer, they're providing information from the 500 largest companies in the world, Fortune 500 companies, to show what they're doing to combat climate change and for people to realize your beer is in danger with climate change. So I
tried to get some and I couldn't, unfortunately.
While I applaud this, and I think it's important to bring this subject up before I let you guys comment about it. How much freaking money do they have that they can just make a beer that tastes like shit and no one's going to drink?
I mean, it's going to sell out. I guarantee this is going to sell out, and it's going to sell out fast.
Yeah.
So is it really that bad of an idea?
It's small batch. Right, because it's only available, as far as I can tell, in state. They said in the article that you can order it online, but it's order it online through their partners like Drizzly. I wish I had a coupon code that I could share with you. I'll give you one later. Like if I lived in Colorado and if there was a driver close enough to the brewery, they could pick some up and drive it over to you. But you know, I think that there is a bigger look. If I was going to tell them one way they need to run their business, I think it's that they need to add banana flavored vape juice to the recipe.
Obviously,
but you know, I understand what you're saying, John. I also get that. You know, we were talking the other day about a brewery that was making like the hottest beer ever, and we talked about like at the end of the day, it's not going to taste really good. People are just buying it because they're buying it, you know, just to kind of have it, right? And it's similar to, you know, wine lovers paying, you know, however much you could pay. You really have to know somebody too to get wine that was stored under the ocean for 50 years and discovered in a shipwreck. You know it's going to taste like shit. But I also, I don't know, it's very like Banksy-esque to me. Like I like popular performance art, right? It's very like Lady Gaga, who's a vegetarian, wearing a meat suit to the Grammys to highlight animal abuse in a lot of clothing that other folks are wearing to things like that. Like, I think that there's space for that in the sense that like people are talking about it, but not just that they're doing it just to do it, but also that there's this action where they're trying to do this as a way to not necessarily, you know, it's not like they're talking directly to Fortune 500 companies. They're talking directly to consumers who oftentimes, without you even think about how much of our own money goes directly towards those exact same companies, right? And so, you know, there is power in choices that they make and that we make as consumers. And obviously these are choices that make a difference on the margins. And even if every one of our, I don't mean to brag, we've got many people that download the podcast, tens of people. Even if every single listener of this podcast were to kind of like in unison rise up and say, we're going to put all our money towards this company as opposed to this company, it would make a difference on the margins, right? But I think it speaks to having having that popular common conversation about, well, okay, they're doing this, you know, to do it. It's supposed to taste like shit. I think it was neat how they were talking about, you know, honestly, using dandelion in place of hops, because, you know, here we're talking about a weed that would continue to grow under certain conditions. Like, I thought it was really neat. I thought it was the thought that they put into that was really cool. I will remind everybody that dandelion and dandelion root is a diuretic, so that on top of alcohol, great way to lose weight, everybody. Please don't do that. But I don't know. I thought it was cool. I don't think that I appreciate it for the performance, and I appreciate it for the messaging. I don't think it's an empty message, and I don't think it's even them, you know, it's not like they're necessarily trying to like tear down other businesses. They're not calling anybody out. What they're doing is kind of highlighting something that I think is it's a crucial conversation to have, right? And I'm not Mr. The sky is falling. That's just not how I am. But I think it's important for that to kind of be in the background, you know?
I think it was very interesting, you know, because New Belgium is going to be completely carbon neutral by 2030, I think is what they're saying. So looking at sustainable energy, you know, there's all kinds of things that they've put in place. And it seems like they got to a point, they're like, okay, we've done that. What else can we do? We're, you know, a medium-sized company. We've hit the goal. Now what else can we do? And so now they're like calling out the bigger companies to say, you can do more. And they've chosen a very interesting way to do it. They've put a lot of time into their website around this. There's a lot of information, everything they're doing, real-time updates on what other Fortune 500 companies have goals. And I think that's really the point of it, is to try to get those larger companies that don't have a plan to try to make a plan. So I think it's an inventive way to go about trying to get their message across. Like I said, I tried to go order it and I couldn't get any, because I definitely want to try some smoked taint water. Yeah, guys, what?
Go to that guy first.
I think one of my concerns is, and I think most brewers are concerned about sustainability, but what's available at scale for a company like New Belgium is way different than what's available for a place like where I am at Lizardtail, where we aspire to do 3,000 barrels a year. Mm-hmm. Carbon capture is the break-even point. We aspire to get to 3,000 barrels a year, but the break-even point for carbon capture technologies are for breweries that do more than that.
Correct.
And 97% of breweries don't do more than 3,000 barrels a year. 97% of breweries don't do more than 750 barrels a year.
Yeah.
So, you know, just the fact that we're, you know, the water we use for cooling the beer goes into a tank and gets used for making beer the next day instead of going down into the sewer. You know, so you can't sustainability. Biodiesel is not even something you can talk about as far as your spent grains turning into petrofuels to run your brewery. Is not even something you can talk about until you do over 5,000 barrels a year.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that, I don't know if I know that they're pointing to larger companies.
Right.
But the craft brewing public, I would hate to see that turn around and have it blow back in New Belgium's face or anybody else's face that brews beer or makes wine or distills anything, because this is a fermentation product and it creates CO2, to have it come back and say, well, why aren't you doing that?
Yeah.
And so we're like, Well, New Belgium can do that because they do 150,000 barrels a year, and we do 1/100th of that.
Yeah, for sure.
I totally see where you're coming from. What I also think is kind of important and awesome about that is because I don't know. Look, if somebody goes into anybody who goes into a random shop all smug and goes, "What are you guys doing?" Fuck you, get out of here. That's what we're doing. We're kicking you out for being an asshole. But I do think it's interesting though that I think that it brings up the conversation, right? And I think that's important to talk about that. Obviously, the aim is focusing on larger breweries that do have the ability to do that, very specific techniques that we're talking about. And obviously, it's those much larger breweries that actually make up a whole much larger chunk of this entire pie that we're talking about. I don't even know if they were aiming specifically at larger breweries in general and more about talking about larger companies. But I also think that even on an individual level, I think it's great. And you've been talking about with Lizard Tail, and I know that there were other sustainable practices that you were doing with Angry Goats as well, that there are still things that a smaller brewer could look at and could focus on. And I think maybe that's the point. I don't know if New Belgium, and look, if there is some big wig at New Belgium saying like, I can't wait to fucking bury a bunch of mom and pop breweries by doing this. If somebody's doing that, well, fuck them as well. But I would hope that we are not collectively kind of looking at it that way. I don't think that that's their intention. And then again, intention is one piece of the pie. Intention and you know how it works out is something else entirely. And I'm glad that you brought that up. By the way, Rhett Moffat has a good idea too. Dandelion NFTs.
Make it happen, Jeff Solomon. Jeff Solomon, you can be the official We Like Drinking NFT guy.
There was one, I thought of an NFT earlier tonight. If somebody can find this, go back and forth through this YouTube clip because it happened. There's a point at which I went to go grab my napkin on my shoulder. But what the viewers at home don't know is that the image that we look at is not a perfect reflection because we want to make sure all the words like come across like in the correct direction. So I needed to wipe my nose earlier, and there's a point during the show where I went like this, huh? And then I just played it off all cool. Go and find that about 20 minutes ago. Turn that into an NFT. Billions of dollars. And it's all going towards carbon neutrality.
Last call.
Last call.
Last call. Time to clean house and lock the doors. You know what we do here, folks. We're looking for a little bit of help for you. John Royak, if the folks want to follow us on social media, how can they do so?
Well, you can follow us on, what are those? Instagram, Twitter, and the Tavern. So, you know, one of those things would be Twitter. That would be We Like Drinking 1. That's the numeral 1. Instagram is We Like Drinking. And the Tavern, where everybody hangs out and sends us GIFs about what wine we're drinking from which celebrity, that would be welikedrinking.com/tavern.
Very well done, Jeff Solomon.
The only problem with that was that you called them GIFs.
GIFs,
Jeff Solomon,
GIFs,
if the
JPEGs.
folks have some thoughts on the show and would like to leave a review, where can they do so?
How many likes do we have on YouTube for this stream right now, Jeff Eccles? How many likes?
0.
How many viewers do we have?
7 right now.
You're in the chat. You're fucking hawking a Chinik right now. Why don't you go ahead and click the like for once in your godforsaken lives? Those of you that are listening at home, please make sure if we get a thumbs down, that's okay too. That's called negative engagement. I dare you motherfuckers to give us a thumbs down right now. Those of you listening at home, go ahead and take a look at your phone at the podcast catcher app that you are using right now. Scroll down till you see those empty 5 stars. Fill those mofos up and tell us what would be the perfect We Like Drinking NFT GIF.
We did get another 5-star review this week. Also, we got another review. 5 stars from Mike OM. He says, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, this is I believe this is another
15 auto inputted. Oh yeah. Porn weed."
Actually, oh my goodness, we have 2 more reviews this week.
Oh, nice.
Let's start with by Laura Loves Wine. Predictive text review, 5 stars. The first one is a must try, and it will be perfect for the rest of the day.
Wow. That's magical.
That is magical.
If that was Laura who's in the chat right now, will you please let us know? That's awesome.
I can't. I got the comments are blowing up. Also, 5 stars from Mike OM. Oh yeah, it's another predictive. Here we go. Oh yeah, true yeah. I know I don't have to go coo, but I'm going on my phone, and then my phone broke, so you don't know. How about you? LOL.
And that was Laura from the chat. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you, Mike. Oh, that made my day. How many oh yeahs could you have in one predictive text?
How does your predictive text have COO in it?
Mine does, because that's shorthand for cool. You don't write coo when you respond to people, because I totally do.
That's fantastic. So make sure you go do that. Let us know somehow that you did it. We'll figure out something to get to you. Laura, we're going to figure out something to get to you for sure for that. You as well, Mike Ohm.
You can send her the cork from your 19 Crimes wine bottle.
Yeah. Laura, let us know if you want the Snoop Dogg cork.
That's oddly shaped. That's going to cost you seriously $3.29 to mail that. That's more than an NFT.
And if you've done all that and you're looking to do more, consider becoming a patron of the show by visiting WeLikeDrinking.com/pledge. But still, go leave us a predictive review. That's a whole lot of fun. You can also find the show
for the cost of 0.0420 ETH. You could be a We Like Drinking patron.
I really wish we had some way of reading people's thoughts if they came out to look at our show and read the last 3 reviews. They're all predictive texts. You can also find the show notes for this episode with all the links to the stories or mentions we had at WeLikeDrinking.com/episodes. Oh,
sounds.
That was it's a lot of fun. But we've reached the time of the show where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
I really don't have anything earth-shattering. I was pleasantly surprised about what I found and what you guys found to do this episode. And a guy I respect musically makes some pretty freaking good wines. Good job, Maynard. Good job.
Jeff Solomon.
I was just saying, guy you respect musically, that Dave Matthews wine is not very good, John. But anyways, I want to take you behind the scenes. As we go through the show, I just have this revolving notepad that I write stuff down on. And during the show, I like to think of the folks that watch live, as you ought to do every Tuesday around 7:30 Pacific at welikedrinking.com/show. Like and subscribe on YouTube. I like to think of those folks as kind of being our in-game producers. Sometimes I looked down and I saw that Rhett wrote something about an NFT, and I'm like, maybe I can squeeze that in. And I'm like, but you know what I haven't done in a while? Vape juice. And so I go to write down vape juice in my notebook to say, I need to say vape juice later. And as soon as I look down in my notebook to the page that I opened up, already on the page. So instead I had to circle it and put like a little wiggly star around it. I had already written vape juice. So there you go. That's inside the mind of Solomon.
Wait a minute. Did you put a V and an A with a line over the top of it and a P just so you wouldn't have to write the E at the end of vape?
I have no idea what you're talking about. What I also wrote down too, as we were talking about celebrity wines, because that Maynard James Keenan wine that sounded baller.
Yeah.
None of us thought to get the Yao Ming.
I couldn't find it. I didn't.
You were looking for it though. I didn't even think about it. I just stayed in the rosé section. I'm like, $15 to $20. This would be awesome.
All right. Before we go, I just cranked out a quick predictive text just to see what you guys would say, and then I'm going to send it to whoever this is to. And here's what my predictive text has to say: I'm going on the road, and I'm not going on the road. LOL. And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast,
where you'll never drink alone.
Going on the road.
Yes, she is in the atmosphere. Drop the in a Concannon makes that wine. That's a Livermore special right there. That train wine.
Oh yeah.
Hey, hey, here's my ukulele. Hey. Oh, look at Eccles with the second glass. You crazy, man.
Cray. Oh.
Taking it back to that blending session.
Let's see. The nose the nose isn't looking good. Let's see. Yeah, that's the shit right
Much
there.
Better.
Yeah. Yeah. Some good fruit notes, some good tannins. Winner chicken dinner right there.
You know what? We have names for different beers that people mix at the brewery.
Yeah.
So somebody came up with a Juan Connery. It's our Mexican lager mixed with the strong Scotch.
Oh, dude, that's got to be awesome.
You know, and we made a test batch of tart cherry cider. Mix that with Hefeweizen.
There you go,
dude.
Yeah,
dude.
So, the Jason Stevens winery from Gilroy, they actually they didn't make it through the pandemic, and we can talk about off air. We could actually talk a little bit about why, and we actually should. But back in the day when I would go there, it was really interesting that one of the reasons why I fell in love with that winery, like really early on, is just the folks that worked there were just awesome. And when people would go in and ask, like, what's your favorite wine that you have, they would always go, well, we really like the blend. And we're like, well, okay, what's the blend? And they would just do 50-50 Cab and Syrah. And it was so popular among the people that worked there that they started bottling the blend.
Wow.
And it was a hitter. That was awesome.
That's awesome.
I miss the blend.
All
but
right.
yeah,
We're
you need
coming
to do
up
that more often, Eccles.
Yeah, for sure. We're coming up on an hour and a half, so we should let everybody get for the night. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you for sticking with us through the celebrity wines. Thank you for the reviews. That's awesome, folks. We love you guys for it. And next week, oh crap, I really need to get better at having this ready to go next week. What's next week? Do you guys remember?
What is next week?
Hold on, I'm almost there. Next week we're drinking spirits again. We have on Mark Breen from Copoli Rum.
Oh,
yeah.
I got the t-shirt.
Yes, you got the t-shirt.
I wore it to work yesterday.
No, not that one.
We have too many samples. Everybody stop sending us. Okay, no, keep sending.
No, don't. This is what do we got? We got this cool bag that they sent this stuff in.
Yes.
This is the white rum from Copoli and the Barrel Reserve rum.
Is that the one that came in the box of no. There was a different thing that we all got from a future guest that's coming on the show that I think everybody in the chat knows this person. Did the one that you get sent with an inordinate amount of packing peanuts around it?
Mine was wrapped in like 15 layers.
Was it the rum that came with all the... I think the rum came with all the packing peanuts.
It was the rum that had all the packing peanuts.
It was the ones made out of starch, everybody. Just throw them down your garbage disposal. It's all good. But it was, some good stuff. I'm looking forward to that.
Your story gave Laura an idea for the winery she works at. So tune in rum next week. Should be fun. This is one out of South America. Is that right? Belize. Yeah, Belize. Yeah.
British Protectorate.
Yep. So see y'all next week. Thank you all for staying with us the whole time. I know that was a long episode, but when we get drinking by ourselves, it happens. All right. Talk to y'all next week.